Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Mansing. In our top story, as we reported, a team from Denmark has been supporting hurricane recovery efforts in the USVI. The Danish Emergency Management Agency, or DEMA, they have joined the U.S. federal and territorial mission, providing valuable support to the U.S. Virgin Islands recovery efforts from Hurricanes Irma and Maria. Danish Ambassador Anne Dorte Riggelsson says this was the effort of Denmark's Prime Minister Lars Løkke Rasmussen and other officials, and she said she couldn't be more proud. Here's more. Ambassador Anne Dorte Riggelsson, the Consul General of Denmark in New York, was recently in the Virgin Islands during the centennial celebrations along with the Prime Minister, Lars Løkke Rasmussen. She has been following developments since the hurricanes.
Having been there and really seen the Virgin Islands from all kinds of angles, preparing the visit by the Prime Minister, talking to so many of you in order to make this visit really make sense in the civil society, and then seeing the images of these beautiful islands where it is, devastation, and it always hits the ones who are the most fragile, which is also why we have tried to focus, of course, coordinated with FEMA on schools, on hospitals.
The Danish Emergency Management Agency, DEMA, has joined the U.S. federal and territorial mission, providing valuable support to the U.S. Virgin Islands recovery efforts.
Well, I am extremely proud, and I'm extremely happy that the close relationship that Denmark has with the U.S. Virgin Islands has been now expressed concretely, and that's really what we wanted to see. It's words are good, deeds are better.
A dozen members of DEMA's technical early recovery team performed emergency repairs of the Seaview Nursing Home in St. Thomas, as well as the cafeteria. At the Syncro Educational Complex, DEMA personnel tidied up, removing damaged ceiling tiles and major hazards and obstacles in classrooms, vocational workshops, and the administrative building. They also repaired parts of the roof. After that, local cleaning and sanitation crews were hired for more detailed cleaning to help make those classrooms ready for students.
Really, the government headed by the Prime Minister, who is behind this effort, and that makes so much sense if you think about that it was the Prime Minister who also represented Denmark during the centennials, and in that way relationships were formed. He has been to the U.S. Virgin Islands several times, but he saw again what relationship we had and what we could have, and this is a part of this new chapter, if you want. This relationship is really not only in the past but also in the future. And every time I hear a story like yours or like DEMA, also we have to praise all the friendship organizations. People from civil society in Denmark, in the Virgin Islands, who are Danes, that all the work they are doing, it's fantastic. Centennials are good, but it's what you do in everyday life that counts, and we really have to praise those people who forge our friendships. As soon as I get a sense from Governor Matt that now time is good for us to visit, then I'll be there, and I will be a frequent visitor.
And of course, the team is still here assisting with the recovery efforts in the USVI. Count on two. We will have an update on what they've been up to. In other news, Lieutenant Governor Osbert Potter, who also serves as chairman of the Virgin Islands Banking Board, is warning the public not to do business with VBS Mutual Bank or its alleged affiliates. U.S. Virgin Islands Money PLC and Virgin Money Offshore Group PLC According to Lieutenant Governor Osbert Potter, consumers in the territory and stateside are receiving requests for monetary deposits from individuals who identify themselves as officers of these alleged U.S. Virgin Islands-based financial services institutions that use the address of 35 Dronigan's Gata in St. Thomas. He said, "I strongly advise all consumers not to do business with these entities. None of these entities are licensed in the U.S. Virgin Islands as a banking or financial services institution." The Office of the Lieutenant Governor, Division of Banking, Insurance, and Financial Regulation has confirmed with federal authorities that there is no insured depository institution named VBS Mutual Bank operating in the U.S., its possessions, or its territories. Individuals with questions about a banking institution or financial services should contact the Division of Banking, Insurance, and Financial Regulation on St. Thomas at Niski Center, second floor, and the number is 774-7166 on Syncro at the Office of the Lieutenant Governor on King Street. The number is 340-773-6459. Well, Hurricane Maria not only caused structural damage on the island of St. Croix, but it has affected a cultural event, including the annual Liberty Day, locally known as Bull and Bread Day, that's usually held in the D. Hamilton Jackson Park on November 1st. This year, sad to report, it's canceled. According to the Grove Place Action Committee, which organizes the event. Here's more.
We had to make a determination not to host it this year. Unfortunately, it's a struggle to not be doing this activity this year. But you know, Maria clearly has impacted a whole bunch of our lives, and being able to, you know, do the pieces that would make this activity come together. The people that do it some aren't available, some are off island. You know, it's just a whole host of different things. A portion of the building that we use in the D. Hamilton Jackson Park to serve the Bull and Bread, that was destroyed as well. You know, it's just so many different little pieces of things. What I advise people to do is to do their self introspection, look at what that day represents, look at what D. Hamilton Jackson represents, and you know, use that day as an opportunity to do things that can help to better our community, similarly to what he did. Trust me, without a shadow of a doubt, we definitely gonna take this to a bigger level next year. Generally, every off-election year, you know, the population is scarce for the activity, but especially on a full-term election, gubernatorial election, it's a major thing. And you know, we always look forward to providing that venue for everyone to come in.
Turning quickly to some crime reports, police say on Sunday, August 27, about 6:52 a.m., 911 was notified of shots being fired in the 22 high-rise area. Shortly thereafter, a vehicle with several bullet holes arrived at the Schneider Regional Medical Center and the ER with a male with a gunshot wound to his head. Contact was then made with the male operating the said vehicle, who stated that he had just pulled to pick up his friend in the 22 high-rise area when an unknown vehicle pulled up near to his vehicle. The male continued to state that the two occupants then exited their vehicle and began firing shots at their direction. And later, he realized his friend had been shot. On Friday, October 27th, the lead detective on the case was advised by the victim's father that his son, 29-year-old Lee Siagogo Jr., succumbed to his injuries and died on Monday, October 23rd, about 2 a.m. in a Puerto Rico hospital. Now, this case is presently under investigation by the Major Crimes Unit. Any persons with information regarding this incident, you are asked to contact the Investigation Bureau at 340-774-2211. You can also contact 911 or Crime Stoppers VI at 1-800-222-TIPS. Police say on Saturday, October 28th, about 11:20 p.m., a citizen called in to report a possible DOA, dead on arrival, on board a vessel anchored in the Red Hook American Yacht Harbor area. The EMTs then responded and stated that a male had no vital signs present. The responding Officers said he observed a Caucasian male lying face up on the vessel's bed wrapped in a red blanket. There were no signs of foul play or anything suspicious. The forensic unit was notified and the body was removed by the Department of Justice's coroner. Be sure to count on 2. We will have an update. Puerto Rico's Power Authority on Sunday canceled its controversial $300 million contract with a small Montana company to rebuild its power lines after Hurricane Maria. Ricardo Ramos, head of Puerto Rico's Electric Power Authority, said the deal with Whitefish Energy would cease once the firm's current work is finished. The announcement came as the authority, also known as PREPA, faced mounting pressure from officials to cancel the deal. Now that it is, Ramos said restoring power lines on the U.S. territory could be delayed by 10 to 12 weeks. Governor Ricardo Rosselló earlier Sunday called on PREPA to sever ties with Whitefish. Whitefish only had 2 full-time employees when Maria made landfall in Puerto Rico as a Category 4 hurricane. It's since added roughly 300 workers to its effort. Rosselló said Sunday that Whitefish has been paid at least $8 million until this point. Keeping our eye on the economy, let's take a look at the stock market watch at the New York Stock Exchange. According to the numbers, we can see the Dow down 85, NASDAQ 2, S&P 500 down 8. Coming up on News 2, it was back to school for many students today over in St. Thomas at the Yvonne Milner-Bowski School, as well as the EBO School, and we have a message from the AFT president. That and more coming up next. Welcome back. The Syncro AFT Union president, Rosa Soto Thomas, spoke with News 2 on Friday about some of the actions the Syncro AFT Union is undertaking to ensure that their members, the teachers, are returning to safe work environments. Some of these initiatives include meetings with OSHA and offering trauma counseling. Here's more.
I know the department is working hard to get the other 6 schools online, and I hope it happens sooner than later. But of course, we want to make sure that there's no problem with the working conditions, because we don't want our teachers to get sick. Teachers and students share the same environment. It's a student learning environment. It's AFT members' working environment. I spoke to Dean Andrews, who's the OSHA director, so he could come in and just update the members as to what tests were done and what are we doing to remediate the mold, because to me that's the biggest thing, one of the biggest challenges, that the members have, and rightfully so. Right now I was with a counselor. I'm trying to get the counselor to bring services to the AFT members. So I'm going to organize this with some of the AFT members so we can set up our counseling through the AFT. I met with the counselor, so that is forthcoming, like the first week in October. I'm going to be releasing the dates where members, if they choose to come in and get some counseling, they can.
Meanwhile, the Department of Education is informing the public that the David Hamilton Jackson Bull and Bread holiday on Wednesday, November 1st will be observed as a full instructional school day for students and school-based staff across the territory. The Yvonne Milner-Bowski Elementary School and the Emmanuel Benjamin Oliver Elementary Schools, they opened today, Monday, October 30th. The 2 schools will be operating on a split session schedule at the Bowski campus, whereas Bowski students will report from 7:30 a.m. to 12 noon, and EBO students report from 11 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Buses begin pickup of Bowski students on their normal routes at 6:15 a.m., and buses for EBO students will begin pickup at 10:15 a.m. Additional pickup points have been established for EBO students at Hidden Valley and Tutu Valley. The Lockhart Elementary School start date, that will be announced. Shelter residents are currently being relocated to a new site. Once the shelter has been fully vacated, the facility will be thoroughly cleaned and sanitized to welcome students and teachers. We will have an update on that. Meanwhile, we heard from some of the parents at EBO and Bowski.
I'm a parent of a student at EBO school here at Bowski, and as for organization and getting the kids into class, I give it an 8 or a 9. As for the foods for the students, I really think that junk snacks are not acceptable And as for the cleanliness of the classroom, as for the classroom that my child is in, it seems clean. But walking out and approaching the other classroom, you can smell the mold from outside the classroom. And I think that's a real big issue as for the kids' health, especially kids with asthma. And I really think that situation needs to be fixed ASAP. So, yes.
Right.
But besides that, I think everything else went basically good.
My son is a student here at E. Benjamin Oliver Bowski BO. So far, I'm excited that he's finally back in school today. However, the classrooms are a little hot, but at least they'll be learning. So I hope everyone has a great school year.
Go. Be sure to count on 2. We'll keep you updated. Now, here's an update from WAPA. Additional manpower and equipment arrived, and electrical service was restored to portions of Cruz Bay, St. John on Friday afternoon, following weeks of reconstruction to some primary circuits in the downtown area. Here's John Griot with the latest on the restoration efforts. John?
Electrical service was restored to portions of Cruz Bay St. John on Friday afternoon, following weeks of reconstruction of primary circuits in the downtown area. Service restoration extended from portions of Cruz Bay to just before the Myra Keating Smith Community Health Center. Additional manpower, equipment, and supplies arrived in the territory over the last 2 days to augment the restoration efforts. There are now more than 500 off-island linemen equally divided between both districts, assisting WAPA Line Department personnel and on-island contractors with restoring service to our customers. On St. Thomas Friday, portions of Estate Altona, Lindbergh Bay, and Fort Milner were restored. Primary circuits were energized on a portion of Feeder 9D from the Nader intersection to the Bushalti Middle School, and from the same intersection towards WAPA's East End Electrical Substation in Nazareth. Reconstruction crews completed work on primary circuits on Crown Mountain Road and will now reconstruct circuits through Estates Pearl and Santa Maria to Black Point Hill. Over the next few days, crews will also work on primary circuits extending north from the Crown and Hawk intersection to WGOD Radio. On Saturday, crews will plant additional poles on Feeder 7A and 8A in the subbase area and on Feeder 10B from Havenside through Estate Bacaro toward Bolongo Bay. Also on Saturday, crews will continue working on Duno Road and in Smith Bay near Linquist Beach. On St. Croix, work has commenced on Feeder 4A where poles were planted and lines were strung in the Golden Rock area. Work continues to provide electrical service to the modular units at the 1F Louis Hospital. Additional poles and transformers were installed in Feeder 8B near Hannah's Rest. Crews restored service to additional areas in downtown Christiansted on Feeder 1A, including Queen and Prince Streets. Primary and secondary lines were secured on poles in Sunny Acres on Feeder 5A. Hotel on the Key is slated to have service restored by this weekend or early next week. On Saturday, WAPA restoration and reconstruction crews on St. Croix will work in areas including Queen Street, Golden Rock, Hannah's Rest, Estates Wim, Williams Delight, and Carlton, and Frederickstead Town. On St. Thomas, crews will work on Crown Mountain Road towards Estates Pearl and Santa Maria, Frenchman's Bay Roadway, the Dono Road, and Dono Bypass, and in Smith Bay near Linquist Beach. Motorists are asked to drive carefully through the work areas and adhere to the directions that are provided by flaggers, military police, and VIPD officers who are assisting with traffic control.
Thanks for that, John. Well, many dressed up for Halloween, and they did not let the hurricane blues, or curfew for that matter, stand in their way of creating some beautiful costumes for a few hours of fun. Although many people were out on Saturday, there's still time to add a few places of interest to your calendar. On Tuesday, October 31st, it's the Hip Hop Halloween at Caribbean Saloon from 6 to 10 p.m. My friend DJ Rob will be spinning some favorite hip-hop jams from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. In enough time to get home for the curfew set. They say come in costume and enter Saloon's costume contest. And they say it's going to be a spectacular evening. Also, could anything be more frightening, they say, than a hurricane Halloween? Well, they don't think so at Smoking Rooster. They say get wild, get creative. They want to see your most creative costumes. DJ Herbal Tea will be helping you to dance the night away, or at least until the curfew hour. face painting by Shari, delicious food and drinks. And be sure to check out your local listings. There are a lot more events going on. And don't forget to keep safety in mind. Stick around, your News 2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.
We have pretty good weather set up for decent amounts of sunshine and only a few brief showers over the next few days. There will be a few showers out there. It doesn't look that bad, though. And this, by the way, is a tropical disturbance that we're going to keep an eye on. It's still about 1,000 miles east of Bermuda, and it's not going to move in our direction. So really, it's just a fish storm at this point, and it may not even become a true tropical storm. We'll have to see how that plays out. But there's a front, and this is a strong front. This is the same front that produced a big cool down, brought frost to the far northern edge of Florida near the Alabama line, and it is delivering some cooler air to the areas like the Bahamas. They're getting more of a December-like feel. For us, we're staying on the warm side of the front, and it's going to roll in, but it won't quite make it all the way into our area. So we'll see an increase in clouds, a few spotty showers out there, but most of the more robust convection and the bigger showers and storms are generally staying away and off to the north of places like San Juan. So tonight we expect to be partly cloudy and dry, 77 for your low. It looks like a nice time tomorrow for the most part. There will be a few interruptions for your outdoor plans as spotty showers break out. St. John, 86, St. Thomas, 86, and we'll tack on a couple of extra degrees for the St. Croix forecast to the south, a spotty shower or two. When it comes to the boating weather, waves on both the Atlantic side and the Caribbean side will be around 2 to 4 feet, and in both cases we're dealing with an east-southeast breeze at around 10 to 15 knots. Again, that front off to the northwest, it'll never make it in, so we're not going to see much of a change in the weather. Spotty showers, there are a few different ways to say it, but the message here, whether it be Wednesday, a shower in spots, or Friday, a stray shower, we're talking about a very similar forecast here. There might be a slight downward trend in the number of showers out there into the end of the week. Highs in the mid-80s, lows in the upper 70s. So, Sandy, it's not a bad time as the utility efforts continue to get everybody back online. Back to you.
Thanks for that update. Well, here is our News 2 weather picture by Destiny King, 7th grader representing Niski Moravian School, giving us a little bit of everything, including a nice, bright rainbow. Destiny, thank you for that. Send us your News 2 weather picture to News 2 via 4611 Tutu Park, Suite 300, St. Thomas, Virgin Islands 00802. Don't forget to include your name, age, school, and a brief description of your work of art, and then tune in to see it right here on News 2. We have much more straight ahead. News 2 Sports comes your way next.
I'm Gary Anthony, and this is News 2 Sports. Holy moly, what a World Series this has been. In case you missed it, Game 5 between the Houston Astros and the Los Angeles Dodgers was one for the ages. In Houston, series tied at 2-2. Both teams have their aces on the mound. Clayton Kershaw for the Dodgers and Dallas Keuchel for the Astros. A pitching duel, right? Wrong. Bottom four, Dodgers up 4-1 when Carlos Correa ties it up with a 3-run blast. Top five, and Cody Bellinger puts one in the seats for 3 runs and a 7-4 Dodger lead. Oh, you want more? Bottom five, and 5'6" Jose Altuve matches one over the left center field fence. This ties this game up at 7. Fast forward, the bottom of the 7th. Astros' George Springer goes deep. Game now tied up at 8. Still in the bottom of the 7th, Correa again, this time with a 2-run shot, and the Astros are now up 11-8. Where is the pitching? Certainly not in this series that has already set a record with 22 home runs in just 5 games. Oh, you want some more long ball? How about Brian McCann with the solo shot in the bottom of the 8th? The Astros are now up 12-9 going into the 9th inning. Game over, right? Wrong again, Grasshopper. Yasiel Puig, he comes up with a 2-run shot, which pulls the Dodgers to within 1. And Chris Taylor lines a single up the middle to tie the ball game again, this time at 12 each. And it's on to extra innings we go. Bottom 10, 2 men on, and well, let's just watch and listen.
2 on, 2 out, 10th inning. That's in the air to left.
This 5-hour, 17-minute slugfest featured 25 runs, 28 hits, 7 homers, and 2 exhausted pitching staffs. Here's Astro manager A.J. Hinch.
Well, I mean, if you stuck out the whole 4.5, 5 hours, however long we've been here, it's tough. I mean, these are hard-fought games. It's not against our bullpen. This is just 2 really good teams just throwing haymakers at one another, trying to outlast each other.
Game 6 is Tuesday in Los Angeles. The Dodgers will have Rich Hill on the mound, while the Astros will try to win their first World Series title with Justin Verlander making the start. This should be a good one. Whew! That's it for sports. Sandy, back to you.
Gary, thanks for that update. And we'd like to thank you for joining us for all the latest in news, weather, and sports. I'm Sandra Gumansing. On behalf of us, have a wonderful evening. Follow us on Facebook and YouTube. We will see you soon.